What is good, YouTube? Quinway basketball analysis coming to y'all with a quick video while holding down analysisplayground.com. We're going to talk about the Phoenix Suns, the team that was just in the NBA Finals, a team that I felt like was one of the best teams throughout the entire year. And they proved it by getting to the finals. Some things went their way, some things happened. They took advantage of it. But ultimately, they came up short, just like every other team in the league besides the Bucks, of the ultimate goal, which is to win the championship. And it's unfortunate just because they looked like the better team. They looked like they was going to win. But some philosophies and some things that they chose to change up during the mid-season ended up being a demise. Now it's about rebounding. You lost, you didn't get it done. Now it's about going to war with a team that is pretty much the same. And they kept a lot of guys that made this team special. They kept a lot of guys that really shine, a lot of guys that really overperformed and performed when they mattered most. And they took care of them. They kept them, they paid them, and kept this team intact. And I think that's important when you're still trying to bring a championship to Phoenix. And it's not going to be easy. They still haven't been able to accomplish that goal. But they showed a lot of signs, and they still got a lot of young guys that can improve. And let's go in depth with this Phoenix Suns team. Let's talk about Jalen Smith. This was a guy that really showed a lot of potential in Summer League. Showed a lot of shot making ability from the three. Showed that he can score in the mid range. Showed that he can rebound. He is 6'10", so people call him as a stretch four in the NBA. He's long and lanky enough to play the five, especially against lineups that go small. But he's still raw defensively, still raw as a consistent perimeter player. We still have to see it in NBA competition consistently. They feel like he's not ready yet IQ-wise either, which is understandable since he was just a rookie not too long ago. And now they're trying to integrate him and make him more of a valuable player. I liked him a lot in the draft. They took a gamble, really went high on him because of his upside and potential. Now we're going to see if they utilize him just a little bit more in the future with his team. That's going to be important, and that's why you drafted him, and that's why you drafted him to be a part of this team. And now we just want to see what he can do, at the NBA level. And hopefully we get to see more of that this year. Landry Shamit is a knockdown three-point shooter that has been respectable in the league, been bouncing around, hasn't been able to find a home, hasn't been able to find a significant role, always get burned, always get time, but really hasn't been able to stick on any team. Everybody feels like he's replaceable. Everybody feels like they can find somebody better or somebody that can fit their team better. It's unfortunate for him. He is what he is. He plays his game, but he's just a shooter, and he's not really elite at it, and that's what's really been hurting him sticking on teams. If he can really work on his footwork and work on his three-point shot, then he can find a home for at least 2 to 3 years in the spot. But until he becomes elite at shooting, he's going to have trouble staying on the roster. But the Suns needed depth. They needed another guard that can give them depth and another guard that can make shots. And Landry Shamit brings that to the table still to this day. And he can be a unique piece for them. We'll see what he does. Alfred Payton, he was interesting, not really known as a scorer. Really changed his game the last couple years. Still is a playmaker. Still is a solid defender at this point. No longer are them days when he came into the league where you feel like he can be elite. But he also showed some growth in a lot of areas. Just a solid backup. I don't really see him getting significant time, but he still is a guy that is solid, and he is a guy that can contribute, and he is a little feisty. So you get that, and that's better, than a lot of other players in the league. And at least you're getting that from Alfred Payton. Cameron Payne, a guy that was playing like CP in a lot of games in the playoffs, and they needed him to step up. They took a gamble, giving him a roster spot, not really knowing who he was going to bring to the table for this team, and he really just exceeded all of it. Going out there, just having fun out there, getting to the paint, hitting threes, playing his game and just loving the game and just doing it the right way. And he never felt like he was unfit. He felt like they just allowed him to be free out there. And it was just beautiful to see because I've been a Cameron Payne believer. I love what he was about even when he was on the bench, even when he was just known for his dancing. And to see him go out there and have breakout series, breakout games, and really just help this team even throughout the playoffs. And this team was known as a team that didn't have a bench. And Cameron Payne was a reason why this bench was strong because he was able to produce. even in the playoffs. And those are the type of guys you want to keep. Those are the type of guys that you want to keep around, especially when they fit this team, especially when they play well with this team. And he was able to show that basically from day one to the end of the season, and it's good to see him back with the Phoenix Suns. Abdul Nader, still don't see him getting significant playing time, especially with Shaman and them there. But it's going to be interesting to see how many minutes and how they utilize him on this team now that they made some depth decisions to make this team a little better, from, 8 deep to about 11 deep. And that's something that you can argue that they didn't have. That's something that they do have this year to me. And we'll see what Abdul Nader do in his playing time. JaVale McGee has been known as a rim protector, a guy that put a lot of effort and energy. You don't want to use him in a bulk of minutes. You don't want to use him a whole lot, but you want to use him for what he is, an athletic big that can protect the rim, that can rebound, and that can disrupt plays. And he may not be the same athlete, may not be the same player that he was in the past, but you're not asking him to be that. You're just asking him to be a serviceable big, and that's something that they was lacking. That was something that they was needing. And with having guys like Kaminsky and Smith still on the roster, they still do have space and bigs if they need that. They can play the 4 or the 5, and JaVale McGee just give them the rim protection that they was missing last year when Aiden got in foul trouble. And now they have that with JaVale McGee, and that's a whole field to me on his roster. That's an improvement. Frank Kaminsky, still not high on him, still don't like him a lot, but this guy just goes out there and compete. This guy can make shots. This guy sets screens and get guys open, get guys good opportunities, and he doesn't complain. He knows what his role is. He knows what his job is to do on the court when he's out there, and he just goes out there and get it done. Cameron Johnson, I loved him. I loved that man last year. He was making shots like crazy. People thought it was a gamble taking him. He's older, not a great defender. He defended well. He knocked down perimeter shots from the mid-range. He knocked down floaters. He knocked down threes, even in the playoffs. People didn't look at him as a high-impact role player coming into the season or even when he was drafted. And he's been able to prove all them doubters wrong. Even last year, he came up huge. A lot of times they was getting blew out or they was down big. And Cameron Johnson just came out there and hit shots and just made the right play and the right decision. And that's pretty difficult to do in those type of situations, and Cameron Johnson was able to do it consistently in the playoffs and was an underrated player to me for this Phoenix Suns team. Chandler Hutcherson just was picked up for the Phoenix Suns not too long ago. I don't really see him getting significant playing time for this team, but he just gives them another wing and another guy that can contribute when necessary or somebody goes down. I got respect for Chandler Hutcherson. I'm happy that he's still in the league. And I'm happy that he got an opportunity to earn some minutes, possibly on a pretty good team. I also look at Jay Crowder, was a guy that really was a hit or miss guy for them in the playoffs. Gave them switchability, gave them the ability to go small, gave them a guy that can space out the floor. When his three-point shot was going, they was basically unbeatable. When his three-point shot was there, he didn't really contribute the way you needed him to do. That's been a huge downfall for Jay Crowder. But when he's on, he's a huge, high-impact player. That's his upside. That's why you keep him. That's why you start him. And that's why you let him play his game. And if he's making shots, he's dangerous. If he's not, he can really hurt your team because he's missing shots and he's not really converting into anything. And he can really become duddy out there. But you still got to respect him because he really went out there and competed, gave it his all. And he still was confident even when the shots wasn't falling. And when they did fall, they was basically just destroying the league. Mikhail Bridges, he's up for that contract extension, and he deserves it. This man was an all-NBA defender to me, was known as a defender coming into the league, has lived up to that hype so far in the NBA, really can hit that three ball, really can get out in transition, show some ability to hit mid-range, showing improvement as a shot creator, even though he had that in Villanova, but he was able to show a little bit more with more talent around him. I love what he's about. I love what he embodies. I love how he plays. I was always watching to see what he was doing on both ends of the court. That just lets you know the respect that I have for him as a player and what he does. And Mikhail Bridges is huge to this team. He fits this team, and he gives them everything that they need at that wing position and has become the ideal, perfect fit that a lot of us thought that he would be. And he has exceeded that a little bit offensively than we thought, too, in the NBA. So shout out to Mikhail Bridges. Get your money. And DeAndre Ayton, Devin Booker, and CP3. I love them. I love all three of these guys. When DeAndre Ayton got drafted, I felt like he can be a great rebounder. I feel like he can be a solid post player. He showed that in college. He showed that when it mattered most, and that's the NBA playoffs. The guy was gobbling up boards, fighting AD, fighting Drummond, Jokic, and everybody. Actually was known as a bad defender as a rookie. As a bad defender, his first couple seasons in the league, we don't feel like that about him no more, especially even defending the MVP in Jokic, holding them, staying with them, and not even letting them get dominated a lot of times, able to guard them one-on-one. Nobody believed it. Nobody seen it. He even got thrown under the bus by Joel Embiid for his defense. And now we ain't even complaining about that. We giving him compliments for it. He had the work ethic. He had the drive. He was inspired by some of the greatest players that are even known for their defense. And I'm seeing that they really do love the game more than people thought. And I'm seeing it with the work he put in and the growth and development that he has shown each year as a scorer, as a passer, understanding IQ of the game. And defensively, I love what he's about. I love his humbleness. I love the fact that he can go out there, change, adapt, and do his best for this team, whether that's getting 20 and 10, whether that's gobbling every rebound, or whether that's just going out there helping your team on defense. He was able to accomplish all those things with the Suns, and they was able to get to the finals because of it and become one of the top two teams in the entire NBA just because guys like Chris Paul and Devin Booker had guys buy in, but they led by example. When they needed buckets, when they needed shots to be made, Chris Paul and Devin Booker didn't mind trusting them. They didn't mind allowing them to run the offense and do their thing. But when it was time for people to step up, they came through, besides in the finals, time and time again. And Chris Paul was amazing. This is a Hall of Famer. This is one of the greatest players to ever do it. And he's only 6 feet, which is the crazy part. You would never believe it. But he plays with a lot of heart. He put his soul into the game. He plays the game the right way on both ends of the court. And I was proud to see him get to the finals. And I was proud to see him play well, especially in the first two games. I had him as finals MVP. And he was the smallest player on the court for most of the time in the finals. And he didn't show it because he was just that good and that special. But Devin Booker, he still needs a lot of growth, still needs a lot of improvement on his games. He still can take his game to another level. He continues to improve, continues to challenge himself basically every year, becoming a two-time All-Star. I don't see that changing this year. And that's a good thing for the Phoenix Suns, and that's why you give him that extension, and that's why you didn't trade him, and that's why you bring Chris Paul in and draft DeAndre and Mikhail Bridges and take them gambles on them, because it eventually should and could pay off for them. They were just this close, a couple shots, a couple turnovers away from possibly being NBA champions. And Devin Booker, even when Chris Paul was out, he stepped up against the Clippers. He stepped up against the Lakers in big games and had big moments in his first playoff run and could have cashed in on the title. Fell short, but ultimately I'm proud of him. He didn't achieve his goal, didn't get the ultimate goal, and probably wasn't even the finals MVP at that point for his team. But he still rose to the occasion, gave it all he could, left it all on the court, and gave himself an opportunity each and every game. Whether CP was there, whether Cameron Payne was there, whether it was just him and Aiden doing their thing, he was still able to make no excuses, compete, and try to win the game, and that's all you can do for the Phoenix Suns organization and the fans. Other than that, Quinn Wade, basketball analysis. I'm gone. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Hopefully you guys enjoy the rest of y'all day. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Enjoy y'all weekend.